This week, Jehovah's Witnesses were told to listen closely. A special announcement was coming, but what actually followed was vague, unexplained, and left many people in the dark. Meanwhile, a private letter to the elders was quietly circulated. New elders manual is being prepared. And JWorg just cut magazine production down to only 2 issues per year. Coincidence or coordinated damage control? Today we pull the curtain back on what's really happening in JWorg and why it looks like panic mode at the highest level. Well, let's take a look at this. We'll get into the announcements and reminders. This is what came out on Twitter, announcements and reminders. A lot of us on the outside, we don't see this stuff. These are letters that are, publishers don't get these letters. These are letters that are given to the elders and then they read them off the platform. So this is one that's read. This is the vague one. Medical matters. This is June 2025. The November 2006 issue of our Kingdom Ministry contained an insert on pages 3 to 6 regarding personal medical matters involving the use of blood. So you notice they don't talk about that insert. They say there was an insert. Well, it was these pages 1 and 2 that people were having to fill out and go and bring them to their doctors. So I didn't know about this. I guess this was something that came later after I'd left. But so now they're saying the insert is now outdated. It's obsolete. Those 2 pages. Thus, we will no longer use it. Current information is available in lesson 39 of the Enjoy Life Forever book. I could look that up, whatever the hell that is. But anyways, like I said, I've been away from this stuff for a while. But these announcements, not everyone gets them. So what happened here was this came out on Reddit 2 days ago. They uncovered what this was about. So the reason for the announcement this week, for the context, there is an announcement this week that 2 worksheets regarding blood fractions is out of date, and that the latest information is contained in study 39 of the book, whatever that's called. It doesn't take long to work out the agenda for the governing body. Interesting facts. We're going to look at this lady. She was in her 70s, recent convert. The church tried to stop the inquest. The recommendations were clear. So JWs were involved. The governing body tried to stop this. Well, we have some of the documents here. It's in the part of this Reddit leak. Every time the governing body tries to stop something, people go out there and it just gets publicized 1,000 times more. So I don't know why they keep doing this, but that's what they do. I'm going to read this one. This medical coroner's court and Jehovah's Witness wishes and documents. And this is a sad part. I did cover this, folks, I remember covering it a while ago. And this is this woman that refused blood and died. Her husband was really upset. He was worldly. And then we're going to look at announcements and reminders for elders. Well, we'll look at that while we're here. What's going on? They're coming out with a new Shepherding the Flock book. So what does that mean? It means that they got some problems. They got some serious problems. So they're coming out with this new Shepherding the Flock book. Right here it says a revised version of the Shepherd is scheduled for release in September 2025. It will be available for download. So once that's out, Avoid JW has it. We'll read it online like we did the last one. And the other thing that we noticed here is that the Watchtower has reduced the amount of printed publications they're putting out each year, or well, this year. So they're only putting out 2 in 2026. It says only 2. 1 new issue of the Awake will be produced, and 1 new issue of the Watchtower. And it shows it right down here, September and October, the Watchtower. World peace, how will it be achieved? That's what its title is. And the Awake is, the tentative title is How to Overcome Loneliness. So that's what they're doing. I didn't realize they used old Watchtowers each of the months. But that's all they're printing new, so that's all they're making. That was the other announcement. So we're going to get into this this coroner, what he found, the documents known as Worksheet 1 and 2, which were given to Heather Winchester by Jehovah's Witnesses and shown to her doctor. This played a significant role in the confusion surrounding her medical care. These worksheets were supposed to help Jehovah's Witnesses clarify which blood products they are personally willing to accept or refuse based on their religious beliefs. But in Heather's case, they ended up causing serious misunderstanding between her medical team, ultimately contributing to the decision that led to her death. The first problem was how the worksheets were laid out. They didn't come with any clear instructions, and the wording was vague. And for example, one column was labeled unacceptable to Christians, but that's misleading because many Christians do accept blood transfusions. So this was in Australia, and they were just reading it. You know, a Christian's a Christian, right? Lots of Christians take blood transfusions. So then it goes on to say other parts of the worksheet gave the impression that it was up to each person to make their choices, like ticking boxes to say I accept or I refuse certain treatments, but it didn't explain what those treatments actually involved or whether they were available in Australia. In fact, one option on the worksheet said hemoglobin, a component of blood, was acceptable, and this led the doctor to believe that Heather would accept a transfusion of red blood cells, because that was the only form of hemoglobin that the hospital in Australia could offer at the time. So the second issue was that these documents weren't intended for use by doctors at all. They were created in the United States and meant to help individuals think through their personal decisions. They were not designed to serve as legal or medical forms. But there was no warning about this on the documents themselves, and Heather showed them to her doctor during a pre-surgery consultation. And naturally, he took them at face value and recorded her consent based on what she ticked. But this turned out to be different from what her surgeon and others understood from her other paperwork and statements. The coroner pointed out that even a well-trained, careful doctor misunderstood the forms, which shows just how unclear and misleading they were. And worse, there was no reference to Jehovah's Witnesses anywhere in the worksheets, so the medical staff, unfamiliar with the religion, wouldn't have known the context. And while the church or Jehovah's Witnesses claimed the worksheets were just for personal reflection, once they were handed out, the Jehovah's Witness church couldn't control how the followers used them, including handing them over to the clinicians, the doctors, I guess, or whoever's at the hospital. And in the end, the coroner concluded that these worksheets should not be used in New South Wales at all. They were simply too confusing, too ambiguous, and too likely to cause dangerous misunderstandings in a hospital setting, especially in urgent or life and death situations. So there you've heard it. That's what's on Reddit 2 days ago. There's the inquest from the coroner's office. This is the you can get all these links right off the Reddit. I'm going to just put the Reddit link on my description in my video. So as you can see, these links are all in Reddit. And I'm going to look at this one here. I thought it was very straightforward. It just talks about Mrs. Winchester. She died after an elective hysterectomy. And when Mrs. Winchester entered surgery, the anesthetic and the surgical team had different understandings of whether she would accept a blood transfusion. And following surgery, a CT scan revealed a large pelvic hematoma with ongoing arterial hemorrhaging. Thanks, good wife. Mrs. Winchester underwent a second surgery to treat that, and a third surgery to pack the abdomen, and closed on the 27th, which she required a transfusion in order to save her life, as she'd lost about 1,000 milliliters of blood. On the basis of Mrs. Winchester's expressed wishes, Mrs. Winchester was not given the transfusion because she didn't want blood, right? So the coroner made 5 recommendations to the Hunter and the New England Local Health District. One recommendation was that the chief executive at the Hunter New England Local Health District take steps to resume regular meetings between the churches, the Jehovah's Witnesses, liaison committee, and the directors of the medical services at each of the hospitals, with an aim to develop strategies to enhance clinicians' understanding of what the treatment would be considered reasonable and compatible with Jehovah's Witness patients generally, and what resources are available to staff in such circumstances. So they made 2 recommendations to the Christian Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses in Australasia, as follows: that the New South Wales congregation be advised that worksheets 1 and 2, published in 2006 USA, are no longer to be relied upon, and that they should not be used at all for any purpose. This advice should be relayed through all available resources, including literature, both electronic and print, to the elders and the places of worship. So I'm going to end there, folks, with this article, because that's really the punch of it. And we go all the way back here, and it's reflected in the June 2025 announcements, telling them to pull that crap from the November 2006 issue. So there you have it, right from, like, these guys did their research, but they're telling them, get rid of that. And they listened. So, folks, what does this tell us about JWorg? Oh, I forgot to shut that off. But what does this tell us? Let's get into it. Okay, so let's recap this public announcement, these letters, private letters that elders are given. The part to the elders, no one, that's not public. So across congregations worldwide, members were told that there's this vague announcement there, but they should pull out of their blood documents those 2 pages. I've never seen those 2 pages. That's something I've never seen, but I guess it came out of the US, and that's what they were pushing. So that's kind of a chilling directive. It's a directive without question. It's not democracy. We are Jehovah's theocracy. That's a chilling directive. It's not about shepherding. It's about control, folks. So there's no explanation, hey, this is what's going on in Australia, this court case. You see, there's none of that given to their people. Just this quick little announcement. Pull that. A lot of people must be wondering, and this is why everyone's wondering. So what's going on, folks? Well, in Australia, there's legal exposure. That's what's going on. Billions at risk all over the world. Let's talk about Montana, New York, federal investigations in Brazil, human rights scrutiny in Norway, Belgium, and the US, and now the Rowland and the Kakert cases that directly exposed Watchtower's top lawyer, Philip Brumley. That's up in the news. This is no longer ex-JWs raising alarms, folks. This is courts, governments, legal institutions are stepping in, and they're making JWorg change in an instant with one court case. So what's with the why only 2 magazines per year? Well, why scale back their biggest publication? Everyone's wondering, JWorg. The likely reason is reduced paper trails. Less literature means fewer public statements to be used in lawsuits or legal arguments. Because whatever they put out on paper goes against them. The assemblies, well, that should go against them too. That's publicized to their people. They invite the public there. It's all about Satan. I think that could go against them too, whatever's put out there. So the New Elders book, and if that wasn't enough, they confirmed this New Elders book. Well, what's going on, folks? New legal language. We're looking forward to seeing it. Tighter internal processes, and probably less paper trail around things like judicial committees, CSA handling, and mandatory reporting laws. And they're rewriting the rules, but not to protect the victims, folks. This is to protect the organization. So let's do an analysis. Let's add this all up. Let's connect the dots. A private letter telling elders to shut up and follow orders. Massive cuts to JW Publishing, especially their flagship Watchtower. And a completely new elders manual just in time for the international lawsuits. This isn't about theocratic clarity. It's about corporate survival. JWorg is shrinking in its footprint, locking down its messaging, and preparing for a courtroom future, not a spiritual one. And if you're already out, keep sharing, keep shining a light, because this kind of fear only shows one thing. The truth is catching up. Live your life with love, and remember, truth does not need control, but cults do. See you in the next video.